Before you have a seat, if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand, he'll swear you in.
Yes, ma'am. Do you swear affirm that testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, sir. You will not see.
When you do, just be careful of that ledge because your chair's on wheels.
Yeah, I see that.
Get yourself situated, move up to the microphone. and
Thank
if you'll
you.
State and spell your name for my record, please.
Okay, it's Tina Mae Patton, Patton.
Ms. Patton, good afternoon.
Hey,
All right. Can you tell the court what part of the county, where are you from?
I'm from Henry County.
All right. And are you familiar with the name Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you know Melissa Wolfenbarger?
She's my sister.
Okay. Do you have any other siblings?
No, just her.
All right. And is that your biological sister?
Yes.
Can you talk about where you and your sister, Melissa Wolfenbarger, grew up?
Well, part of my life, we were in Ellenwood, Forest Park area. And then the other part, most of the time when Melissa was in school, we were in Stockbridge or McDonough, Locust Grove.
Okay. How many years did you live in the same household with Melissa?
Until I was 18 when I left.
Okay. And are you the same age as Melissa, or you guys different ages?
No, she's younger. There's
Okay.
7 years in between me and Melissa.
All right. And who lived with you and Melissa in your residence growing up?
It was me, Melissa, my dad, well, our dad, and our mom. And for a little while, our granddad on my dad's side, Papa.
Okay. And what is your mother's name?
Norma
And what's your last name?
Patton,
And what is your father's name?
Carl Patton.
Okay. And were your mother and father together throughout
Sir.
your childhood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what type of relationship did you have with your sister growing up?
Well, there were 7 years between us. So we were doing different things at different ages. I mean, there were 7 years between us. So when I was 7 and was out playing and stuff, she was a baby. So we wasn't that close. I mean, we lived in the same house and we played outside and stuff, but we wasn't like 1 year between us that kind of close.
Okay. And do you live with anyone now?
Just my husband.
Okay. Now, you said that you lived in the same household with Melissa until about 18. Is that correct?
I was 18 when I left.
And what did you do? What did you do, and where did you go when you left the residence?
Well, at 18 when I left, I was in Stockbridge probably for about a year with my dad's Aunt Marie with her daughter, Elaine. I lived with her for a little while. And then after that, I ended up in Las Vegas, actually, Nevada, and
Okay.
had my son out there.
All right. And when do you make your way back to the Georgia area?
When my daughter was, let's see, she was born in 90. So probably about February of 91, we came back to Atlanta. Well, I came back to Atlanta with both my kids.
All right. So it's February 91. You left at 18. Roughly how many years has passes between those two events?
3 years.
All right. During that period, did you keep in contact with your family members?
Yeah. Melissa came to Tucson, Arizona and lived with me for a little while
Okay. All right.
before I had Kimberly.
All right. That would have been during that 3 year period.
Mm-hmm.
So from say 18, 19 to mid 20s. All right. And so when you came back, did you live by yourself or live with someone else?
No, I went back to mom and dad's house.
All right.
And Melissa was still at home.
All right. And so you're about say mid 20s during that period?
2021.
All right. How long did you stay at the residence with Melissa and your mother and father?
I stayed there pretty much until 90, well, probably late 94, probably when I left again.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about 95 because 95 was when I got married to my first husband, David. And that was in early 95 though.
Okay. How long? It's okay. All right.
So it was probably about October or so of 94, I guess,
all right.
when I left.
Were you employed, working anywhere during that
I
period?
wasn't working. I was pregnant at that time.
Okay. And at some point, did you start working?
When I went back home,
And where did you start working?
Waffle House
All right.
again.
All right. How many years did you work at Waffle House?
Off and on for about 20.
Okay. And during that period, while you've been employed at Waffle House up until the time that she disappeared, did you keep in contact with Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Not, I was kind of mad at my parents. Well, more mad at my mom. I was upset with my mom. So I really didn't call home much, but all of a sudden one day somebody comes up to me at Waffle House and says, guess who you're going to be training tonight? And I'm like, who? They said, your sister. And I'm like, what? And she was married then. She was already married to Chris.
Okay. And what year was that, if you can recall?
97.
Okay.
Yeah, 97.
So that was roughly the year before she disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what type of work would Melissa do at Waffle House?
Well, she worked third shift with me. She was a server.
Okay. You recall how long she worked at that location? And what location was that, if I didn't ask you that?
It was close to the airport, Virginia Avenue, next to where Spondibus is. So the corner of Virginia Avenue and Bobby Brown.
All right. So roughly about 3 months, do you recall the time period?
Probably about 6 months because she had gotten her vacation pay. And Waffle House, you get a vacation check every 6 months.
Okay. All right. Are you familiar with Christopher Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
How do you know Christopher Wolfenbarger?
He was married to my sister.
Do you recall at what point in your life you met Christopher?
Yep. It was 95 when I got married.
All right.
The day I got married actually was the first time I ever met him.
And were the defendant and your sister in a relationship at that time when you met him?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall how long they were in a relationship when you first met him?
No, because, well, it had been a while, I guess, because when she came to work with me at the Waffle House, they were already married.
All right. How many?
It was 95 when I first met him, January.
95. And do you recall how much time passed between you first meeting him to when they got married?
Probably about not too long. I think it was only a month or two.
Okay. Did your sister and the defendant have any children?
Yes, they had two,
Do you recall their names?
Christina and Joey.
All right. Did you get an opportunity to spend time with them as they were growing up?
No, because I was working all the time.
All right. Prior to the defendant and your sister getting married, how much time would you say you had a chance to spend around him?
None,
Okay.
none.
After they got married, how much time would you say you had an opportunity to spend around the defendant and or your sister?
I spent more time with her than I did him.
Okay.
The only time I ever saw him was when he would come over there to the Waffle House to drop her off or pick her up.
All right. If you saw him in court today, do you think you could recognize him?
Oh, I know his face very well.
Okay. If you could point to
He's
Christopher Wolfenbarger.
Right there, black hair and the gray suit.
Okay. Thank you.
If you would, ma'am, sorry, but for my court reporter, if you'll, you're fine so far. You don't need to repeat
Okay.
anything. But if you'll let the lawyers finish their questions all the
Oh,
way
sorry.
before you start to answer. Thank you.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Your testimony was that Christopher Wolfenbarger would visit the Waffle House
Mhm.
Virginia Avenue near Spondivits.
Yes, sir.
How many times do you recall him doing that?
All the time. Every time she had to work.
And what would you see him doing during that period?
Most of the time, just watching what she was doing.
And you familiar with the name Troy McClendon?
Yes.
Who is Troy McClendon?
Troy was my boyfriend at the time when I worked at that Waffle House with Melissa.
All right. And did you ever see Troy at the Waffle House?
Every day he worked the same shift that me and Melissa worked, third
Okay.
shift.
Can you tell the jury if Troy ever was ever at the Waffle House at the same time that Christopher Wolfenbarger was at the Waffle House?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And do you recall a confrontation between Troy McClendon and Christopher Wolfenbarger?
Yes, I do.
Now, without repeating anything that you that anyone else said during that encounter, can you tell us what you observed happen?
Melissa was running late this time. She was running late getting there, and I was standing in the back by the office door, just looking out front, watching what was going on, because it wasn't time for me to go out front yet. The manager was counting the money for us to take out, and Melissa came in. She came through the swinging door at the back where I was, and I looked at her, and she had tears in her eyes, and her nose was red, her eyes were red, because that's always how she got when she was crying. We all do when we're crying, and everybody in my family anyway. And I noticed that she had like red marks around her throat, and I said, Melissa, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Wait a minute. Is that a handprint around your throat? And she just looked at me and her eyes filled with tears. And I said, did Chris do that to you? And she just looked at me. She didn't really say nothing. And then I just turned and was going to go out the door. I was going to go say something to Chris.
Okay. Did you?
She wouldn't let me. She stopped me. She said, you'll make it worse.
Can you tell the jury what happened after that?
I went out front. Troy evidently heard me in the back room saying something to Melissa. So he was coming towards the swinging door when I was going out it. He said, what's going on? I said, he hit my sister again.
What happened after that?
Troy went over there and confronted him and hit him. And he just looked out the window.
I'm sorry.
Chris just looked out the window.
Okay. How long did that continue?
Not long, because one of the other employees came and grabbed Troy and pulled him away and got Chris out the door.
Okay. Now, what period of time, if we're trying to orient, you started, I think you said during that 6-month period during 1998.
Sorry.
Okay. So if we're looking at that beginning of 1998 period, can you tell the jury as best you can, when did that happen?
That was more towards the end of 97.
Okay. Now, is that the only confrontation with Christopher Wolfenbarger that you can tell the jury about?
And that's the only one with Troy.
Okay. Did you end up having another confrontation with
Yes,
Christopher
I did.
Wolfenbarger?
I did.
All right. Can you tell the jury how that happened?
Melissa had come and stayed with me for probably about a week. It was supposed to have been longer than that. So we would sit up at night talking about stuff, and then all of a sudden she decided she wanted to go home because the kids. So I took her home and she was getting out of the car and I was getting out with her and I was going to hug her to tell her goodbye. And he came out of the house, Chris, and was coming down the steps and he called me a bad name. He called me a B. And I started going up the steps. He said, if you put your hands on my sister again, I will beat your butt. And she grabbed my arm and said, Tina Mae, shush. You're going to make it worse. She always said I would make it worse.
Okay. Did anything happen after that?
No. No.
Okay.
She quit after that.
And around what time period was that?
That was within a month after the confrontation with Troy. So about a month.
Okay. Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention back to at the time that you were working at Waffle House with your sister. Can you tell the jury if anything you can recall about what the defendant told you that might have been a cause for concern with you, especially considering the disappearance of your sister?
As far as what she said?
Did you have any conversations with the defendant, or did you overhear the defendant make any statements about anything in particular that was of concern for you?
Yeah, we were sitting having breakfast one morning, me, Melissa, Chris, Troy, and there was another waitress sitting there, Diane. She was a friend of mine. She'd been working with me for a while, and we were all sitting there eating breakfast, just having a conversation, talking about whatever. And then all of a sudden, Chris pops off with, well, I know how to get rid of a body if I need to. And me, Diane, and Troy looked at each other like, what? Because we were just talking nonsense about silly little stuff or about the news of the day or whatever, just cutting up laughing. And then all of a sudden, this comment comes out of his mouth.
Okay. And your testimonies, you don't recall the context or what happened or what was said before that?
Well, that was the thing. It wasn't like we were talking about being mean to somebody or killing people or nothing. We were just sitting there cutting up about little silly stuff. And then all of a sudden this comment comes out. And we're all like shocked because it's like, where did this comment come from? Why would he say something like that?
Okay. At any point, did you ask the defendant about that statement?
Oh, no.
Okay. Do you recall if anybody else asked him about it and if there was a response from him regarding that?
No, nobody said nothing. Everybody was just surprised, shocked.
Okay. Now, if Melissa stopped working, you said after that 6-month period at Waffle House, did you see her again after that?
In March for
Okay.
my birthday.
All right. And what year of March was that?
98.
Okay. All right. So, and would that have been the same time that she would have ended her tenure at the Virginia Highland Waffle House?
I didn't know that she was working at that one because when I saw her that night, she told me she was working at Doryville.
Oh, okay. All right. But was that after she had left the location she was working with you? I'm trying to make
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He said Virginia Highland.
Gotcha.
We were on Virginia Avenue.
One moment, Judge. Let me turn your attention back to that. You were talking about a period of time when Melissa and the defendant were, when you came back They were in a relationship, but it was before they were married. And you have to give a verbal answer. So was that it? That was a yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. So do you recall when Melissa left the residence?
That I don't.
Okay.
That I don't. I don't know when she actually left from home. I know in 95, when I got married in January, she was still at home, but they were dating at that time.
All right. Now, have you, let me ask you this. When was the first time that you had a concern about the whereabouts of your sister, Melissa?
When my dad walked into the Waffle House in February of 99 and asked me where my sister was.
Okay. Why was that a concern for you?
Because Mom, it was right after Mom's birthday. Mom's birthday is February 24th. If my sister didn't go see my mom, call my mom, or send her a card for my birthday, then something was wrong. Because Melissa always called Mom or got in touch with Mom or something on her birthday. Always. She never forgot Mom's birthday. I did. But she always remembered Mom's birthday.
Okay. And so this is February of 99. After he comes into the restaurant, what do you do after that?
Nothing. I just was like, I was surprised. I remember I called my grandmother and asked her why Dad was looking for Melissa. Because at the time he came in, it was lunchtime, so I was kind of busy. So I couldn't really sit down and talk to him and have a long conversation about what was going on. He just came in and said, "Where's your sister?" And I was like, "I don't know. Why?" He said, "Well, I went to go look for her and I can't find her nowhere. Nobody knows where she is." I said, "Well, Dad, she doesn't work."
Just a moment, yeah. Just what's that?
I can move on with the additional questions.
And just as a reminder, ma'am, we generally, unless we're asking you to not necessarily tell us what other people told you, unless we specifically ask you about that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Cassett.
At any point, do you make any efforts to locate Melissa?
Well, I knew that they were looking, so I myself didn't.
And when you say they, who are you referring to?
Mom and Dad.
All right. And specifically, did you make any attempts to reach out to law enforcement or anything of that nature?
I did, but it wasn't until 2015.
Okay. And how did you go about that process of reaching out to law enforcement in 2015?
Well, the thing is, in 2015, there was a lot of the ID discovery shows. I kind of got addicted to them, and we already knew by then that Melissa had passed. So I kind of got angry, and that's when I really started trying to reach out to him and push.
Okay. So these are shows where crimes are being solved?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So you started trying to reach out. Who you started trying to reach out to?
City of Atlanta, or anybody that would listen. Nobody wanted to really talk.
All right. And are you aware of any investigator was working on that case at that time?
It was Calhoun at that time.
All right. How did you come to find out about the particular officer involved?
Actually, Calhoun, we had already talked to him before that. It was, I think, 2003, I think it was, when we talked to him.
Okay. And 2003, was there anything else of significance that happened in 2003?
That was when we found out that she was dead.
Okay. Well, anything prior to that?
That was the same time that my dad was arrested.
All right. And what was he arrested for?
Murder.
All right. And so your dad's arrest for murder, does that happen before or after you find out that Melissa was the identity of the remains?
Actually, it was the same time
Okay.
that I was notified.
I see. Okay. But do you recall that as being the same year?
Yeah.
2003?
Same year, same day.
All right. And from that 2015 period up to, I guess, the point that we are now, did you make any additional attempts to contact law
Oh,
enforcement?
yeah. I
And
tried.
who did you contact and how many times did you try to do that?
Every time, well, 2015 was when I decided I was going to get the folder, the file on Melissa.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was trying to get the file on Melissa,
Okay.
on the case. I had problems getting it. I filed the Open Records Act probably 3 times. And they kept sending me emails back saying, no, they couldn't find the file. There wasn't a file.
Okay. And how many times did you attempt to do that?
That was 3 times then.
And in what age? You said Atlanta Police Department you were to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sorry.
All right. Did you do anything else besides that? Try to get the open records request?
Yes. After the 3rd time, I had come down here the 3rd time in person and filed it. I'd already talked to somebody with Henry County Sheriff's Department that came to the restaurant where I ate at. And he said, well, if there's a file. Okay.
You can't say what someone else said.
He just gave me a suggestion about what to do about the file.
All right.
I'm going to object to relevance, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow it. Overruled. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you reach out to anyone that wasn't with law enforcement?
Yes.
And
Well, no, she's really with law enforcement.
okay. All right. And did you continue to do that throughout that period of 2015?
Anybody who would listen to the story I told.
Did you conduct any interviews with any reporters or anything related to this story?
Of course.
Okay. And what was the point or purpose of you doing that?
Getting Melissa's story told.
And why were you trying to do that?
Because we wanted answers about her murder. We wanted an arrest.
Okay. Now, did you and Melissa have any conflict as you were growing up?
Of course. I mean, we were sisters.
Okay.
There's always some kind of conflict.
All right.
Nothing life-changing.
And the 2 instances where you were testifying as to the encounter that you had with the defendant at Waffle House and then at the residence, is that the only encounter that you had with this defendant?
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have, Judge.